TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, take me higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and welcome to the Breakfast Bankroll, I guess we could say, with Andrew Mcinnis and, of course, Mr. Terry Smith from Atlanta Steak and Seafood will be in the second half hour. I looked at the schedule today, and the first person I thought of was I was going to say guest. He is not a guest. He is part of ECSI, Andrew Mcinnis. And my first question was, I think they had a red zone on ESPN last year for this, and they have the 6:07, 6:30, 6:45. The whole NHL is in action, so I don't know if Andrew has enough TVs. Never mind, what he's thinking of today, because it's Christmas Day for any NHL fan. So first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Please head on over to Google Play, download the app. It's free. Travis, Zach, myself, Amber, Holly, Jay, the rest of the team will take good care of you. Viva Tequila Seltzer, CT Bets Team Family, second to none. The East Coast is cuckoo for coconut. And Atlanta Steak and Seafood. Terry Smith, head on over to Facebook. Introduce yourself to Mr. Terry Smith, of course. And while you're there, head on over to Atlanta Steak and Seafood website. Place an order. Use promo code Seafood20 for any box of seafood. That's lobster tail, sea bass, whatever Terry's got to offer, he will deliver. And without further ado, let's bring in the other half of this show this morning, Mr. Andrew Mcinnis. What's up, Andrew?
What's up, Jeff? The frozen frenzy. It's a jam-packed day on the ice.
You think? I mean, we talk about a spaghetti strainer. I mean, I remember last year when they had this. It was fun. It was like, I think I don't even know. Actually, they don't even have a number yet. I was trying to see what the over-under was on the Grand Salami here.
Yeah.
But, it was interesting. I mean, they're all on the ice, from 6:07 all the way to 11 p.m. I mean, you'll be watching hockey throughout. So, how was your weekend, sir?
It was uneventful. Uneventful, really, is the word I would give you. Saturday, however, was a little disappointing because again, you talk about that spaghetti strainer you and I have mentioned over the past few weeks together, and I did a video which I was telling you about on Friday on my channel, recording for Wager Talk, giving out a pick on every single game on Saturday, and I think I gave out 3 picks to customers, and I think about every other pick that I liked would have hit. But the good news is on a 1 to 5 unit scale, we're still up 16 units this season. So it's been pretty good. I actually passed the busy NFL Sunday, and we got involved with a Baker Mayfield over 1.5 passing touchdowns yesterday, which was, it's always nice when you can cash a prop on a game like that because I mean, I don't want to say they were never in it, but it was pretty much a clear right side winner for the Ravens. So, yeah, a pretty quiet weekend, Jeff. But congrats to you on a good day yesterday with the Leafs and the Ravens. Two nice team totals, and it's nice when I can catch the Baker touchdowns and you can catch the Ravens team total all in one game.
We start the week here. We end the week on your channel, which I'm going to have to talk to you at some point. I have a BC football game Friday, so either we'll have to come on your channel some point on Thursday or bright and early on Friday, but we'll get to that. You talked about the team totals. We are on an amazing start in the NHL on team totals. Yes, we had the Ravens team total over yesterday as well. I talk about turning a big favorite or even a small favorite into plus money, and the one variable versus two variables. The two variables, obviously, if you're betting an over under, you need two teams to score a lot of goals or not score a lot of goals. Where for me, they're already giving us a carrot. For instance, the Leafs were minus 135, 140 last night. I'm not going to the window and spending that, especially against Tampa. We know what Vasilevsky can do. Yet I can go and get plus 110 for the Leafs to get to 4 or better. The under over was a 6.5. So there's another carrot, right? And the Leafs scored 2 in the first, 3 in the second. I mean, we cashed that 7 minutes into the second period.
Yeah, and like the fact that they came off a flat outing against the Rangers Saturday night, where I always talk about how big those games are in the eastern part of Canada or anywhere at a big hockey market, those games are huge, right? And then so this was the big test with Craig Berube as the head coach, because Leafs fans are obsessed with him. He's their new Lord and Savior, that he's going to be the coach that will help them get to that next level. Well, Jeff, that to me last night, that's a Craig Berube game. That is a coaching game. I know Marner played well. I know Willie Nylander scored. I know Matthews scored. But to me, that game is because of the coach. I'm not even someone to give the guy too much credit, because you're going to see Leaf fans going crazy about this coach all year, because he's not a player's coach, right? He'll be real tough on the players, and I think a team like the Leafs needed that. But if you look at how they came out, it's pretty much the opposite of how they played against the New York Rangers. I know that Shesterkin played well in that one on Saturday, but still, great rebound game for the Maple Leafs. And again, there's not going to be every rebound game for them is gonna see their team total hit, but more often than not, when this team plays well, they're going to hit their team total, but they're also going to hit the under team total on their opposition. That's what I'm curious about the most, to see how they can defend. But you brought up Vasilevsky. I'm not sure if you saw that clip going around in warm-ups, but that was pretty funny of him spraying Morgan Riley. And people were shocked, saying, like, is there some type of joke that we're all missing here? Because, like, that's not really something very common that players do. I mean, it looked like it had to be on purpose. There's no way it could have been an accident. Like, he had a lot of snow coming at him, but it's a rare sight whenever Vasilevsky gets pulled from a game. And you're probably smiling ear to ear with the team total, seeing Vasilevsky skate to the bench.
Well, and on your channel, if you remember on Friday when we were going through the Saturday games, I highlighted Hockey Night in Canada, and I says anytime you can get the Rangers as a dog, keep an eye on that. And sure enough, they played well there. Full slate. I headline today: Can the Bruins whistle Dixie in Nashville? And my family, my daughters, celebrated my kid Kylie's 21st birthday in Nashville over the weekend. Could have saw the Red Wings game on Saturday. They just missed the game today. They came back yesterday on the Bruins. A Nashville team, you and I talked pre-flop, was the sexy, public, trendy Western Conference and Stanley Cup. Look out, here we come. Got off to a pretty damn slow start.
Yeah, that's for sure. It really is for sure. And you know, the funny thing is, when you take a look at some of their scores here, as I'm going to pull them up just to remind myself, but they to me, it hasn't been as much. I'm a little bit shocked by their defensive game here. 5 goals allowed to the Red Wings, 4 goals allowed to the Oilers, 7 allowed to the Kraken. I mean, this is a team that added some pieces offensively, right? But guess what? It's not Marchessault's fault that they gave up 7 goals to the Kraken. It's not Stamkos' fault they gave up that many goals, right? This team was already supposed to be a good defensive team, and now they're giving up goals in every game. So that's a little bit shocking to me. And I'll tell you, I mean, that game for Nashville against the Oilers, that one had to sting the most because they were right there in that game the whole way. But, tonight, Jeff, I'll be completely real with you. I don't have a pick in that game because I want to bet Nashville. I wanted to. But I know this sounds funny, but I only wanted to bet Nashville if Boston took care of Utah. But Utah beating Boston, I think Boston's going to be laser focused. Montgomery going after Marchand, his own captain, on the bench after he had a bad turnover. I just think this is kind of a tough spot. It could be a slight lean to the under for me, actually. Again, I talk about the need for good defensive play for not just the Preds, but the Bees. But we talking about the spaghetti strainer, I think that this is one of those ones here where I just don't want to be involved in. I mean, it's like on the weekend. I liked the Senators to get the job done on Saturday. I mentioned it in my video. I didn't have it in me to fade a team that hadn't lost yet. I was right, but I didn't have it in me. Just like how at this point right now, off to a good start with the season with clients, I don't have it in me to be involved in a game with a team that hasn't lost or haven't won a game yet. You know what I mean? There's so many games on the board today that it's kind of like the streak could go on and on and on, but it can only be snapped once. I'm not sure I want to try and be the guy that rolls the dice and figure out if that's going to be tonight or not.
Well, I'm going to break this down into quadrants here, make it easier. Like I said, 32 games here. We could have a 2-hour show here on all the games here. Starting at 6:07, I'm going to go right down to, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll go down to 7:15. Washington at Philly, Minnesota at Florida, Tampa at New Jersey. Tampa, obviously, on a back-to-back. Dallas at Buffalo. And the Rangers travel to Montreal. Anything in particular that really piques your interest in that little box?
In a lot of the first handful of games here, there's one that sticks out to me, and I kind of like the Panthers hosting the Wild. That was one of the ones you mentioned, right? The first couple of games. Is that one of the ones you mentioned? Oh, sorry, I'm looking at the schedule. That's the second game of the night, right?
Minnesota and Florida.
Minnesota, yeah. So one thing I have pegged for this Minnesota team, Jeff, is that they're gonna. I know it sounds so simple to say this. They're gonna win the games they should, and they're gonna lose the games they should. I don't see them playing shocker very often, and just the same way I don't see them losing as short favorites very often. And I think this Florida Panthers team, they had a little bit of adversity where they lost to the Senators and they lost to the Sabres, but then all of a sudden they bounced back, rattled off 2 wins in a row against the Bees and the Jackets, and they lost to the Canucks, and then they just won at home in their first game back at home against the Knights. And that game was supposed to be tough for them. That game was supposed to be a difficult game for them. Now they've had some time. They're well rested. And funny, I wanted to mention this. I saw somebody on Twitter posting this. The NHL has set it up for a lot of these teams to be well rested coming into these games. Keep in mind, there were only 3 games on Tuesday, and there was only one on Sunday, and there was 1 game yesterday, which means a lot of these teams are very well rested. We could see a lot of unders tonight. We could see some defensive play. And I think that really does benefit the Florida Panthers. So if you want a team total, this might be my first time of the year going against the Minnesota Wild. And I think this Florida Panthers team gets the job done. This is right up the Jeff Dawson alley here. I think plus 120 is what I'm seeing for Florida to get to that 4-goal mark. I think that, it's funny when things work out the way you like them to. And when I look at some of these games that the Minnesota Wild have played so far, Jeff, they've won the games that they should win. And now they're going to go through a stretch, I think, of some games that they probably shouldn't win. And we're going to see how they deal with some of this adversity. But I don't think they play very well in these particular spots. Washington and Philadelphia, one is kind of interesting because if I look at the Flyers' last game, it was their first game back at home. And I made the mistake, and I sent you the plays that I was on. I took the over in the Philadelphia and Vancouver game. I wish I just took Vancouver because it was a really, really bad spot for Philadelphia. But a lot of the times when I'm fading a team first game home off a road trip, it's either I bet against them or I take the over expecting a lot of sloppiness. And at the end of the day, they just looked flat as a pancake. Vancouver has skated all around them, and Philadelphia had nothing to offer. It was one of those funny games where they just didn't look ready. But having said that, I think Philadelphia might be the side tonight. I think that they had that one flat game. They had the game where they didn't show up and they didn't play well. They have John Tortorella as their coach, and I think he's a good coach at getting teams back on track. And let's not forget, this is a team that had that road trip and didn't do very well in it. They lost to Calgary, giving up 6 goals, lost to Edmonton, giving up 4 goals, and they lost to the Kraken, giving up 6 goals. And they come home and lose 3-0, shut out against this Vancouver Canucks team. This seems like a good spot to me to bet on this Philadelphia Flyers team. As much as I think Washington might be a good upset team this year, they've got good goaltending, a few good forwards, and of course Alexander Ovechkin. This calls for, and doesn't this seem a little bit fishy to you? It's like 2 teams, bottom of the barrel, Metropolitan Division. And, it's only a slight home favorite here. I think this is a spot that I like Philadelphia.
I agree with everything you said, especially after starting the season, in the West Coast for a handful of games, come back, flat spot, plenty of rest. But I think you nailed it. Overnight, Philly was minus 120. Now at the Circa, only minus 107. I don't have high expectations for either team this year. I did think Philadelphia might be a little better in a bounce back spot this year, yet only minus 107 against the ageless wonder, Mr. Alex Ovechkin.
It's I will say though, I don't want to come on here and contradict myself because I did say that I don't want to step in front of like bad streaks, but at least we know they've won a game already, right? They've won a game already. And part of me likes, I don't want to say but Jeff, they couldn't have been any worse against Vancouver on Saturday night. They couldn't have been. Yeah, this Philadelphia team. So you got to think that they're going to be focused. You have to think there's going to be some type of bounce back for this Philadelphia team. They looked lifeless. Those players got up that morning and they shouldn't even have showed up to the arena. And I think that their coaching staff will have them ready against the Washington Capitals. And I'll tell you what, those are the first 2 games I'm seeing, 7:10 Eastern and 7:40. If that's correct, a lot of people aren't going to be talking about those 2 games today. And I didn't just give out those 2 picks because that was the ones in order. I do like those picks. And you look across the board at all these other games we can look at. And those aren't the sexiest picks by any means. But I think those are plays that are kind of interesting to look at because you've got 2 teams in kind of different spots. And again, I think this Wild team is going to lose games against. They're not going to fare well as underdogs. And I think Philadelphia will be a good bounce back team as it stands right now. And I'm going to throw one at you because I'm curious of your thoughts about this one. Buffalo and Dallas. So again, I talk about teams. This is another team, and I'm probably going to annoy you by saying this the whole show, but I'm frustrated about Saturday, a few teams I left off the board. Buffalo played Chicago, and man, oh man, it felt like that was about as buy low as a spot you could have gotten on the Buffalo Sabres, minus 130 against the Hawks. They get the job done. They put up 4. They get to that magic number you and I talk about. But now they've got Dallas rolling into town. I can't see Buffalo getting on any streaks by any means here. This seems to be an interesting one. I'm curious your thoughts here.
Well, looking at the numbers, Dallas opened up overnight minus 150, now minus 142. The Sabres plus 130. A 6 under minus 15 cents overnight, now 6 under minus 20 cents. Team totals, which you know is where we go. 3.5 juiced under minus 140 for Dallas. Buffalo 2.5 over minus 120. The team totals getting to 4 or better for us this year. A lot have been also with 6.5s. Now, a 6 is still a 4-2 game, 4-1, 4-0, blah, blah, blah. So, again, for me, I wouldn't spend the 142 on Dallas. I wouldn't worry about them winning the puck line. I would not worry with them in regulation. If you like Dallas tonight, team total over 3.5, you can get them at plus 120. And if I wanted to jump into that game, that's exactly where I go.
I agree with that. And this is the thing. Buffalo, based on what we saw at the start of the season, I truly believe that offense will not be their issue. And, in large part, this could be one of those games that you and I are joking around with over text, and I take the over and you're on a team total and you're saying, well, one team has to get to the magic number anyway. But this is one of those games where I'm saying, let's just put our faith in Dallas, because the Sabres, put it this way. They've had 2 games. One of them they scored 4, Jeff, and one of them they scored 5. They lost both those games. That's not good. If you're the GM of that team and you put together that offensive crew, right? And you're going to say, okay, in my opinion, as a Canadiens fan, and obviously we've been bottom of the barrel, top 5 picks for years. If the Canadiens even give me 3 goals, Jeff, I think we're in the game, right? And on Saturday, the Islanders beat the Habs in a shootout 4-3. And the fact of the matter is, there's been 2 games Buffalo, their offense gave their defense 4 goals and 5 goals, and they weren't able to win those games. That's music to our ears as team totals bettors. It has to be.
1,000%. I'm going to make it easier on you because, again, there are so many games today. We just broke down one little quadrant of them. Toronto at Columbus. Amber loves Columbus. Amber, Ohio State and Columbus. That's like apples and oranges, right? That is like the trifecta, the quinella right there. Detroit Islanders, Winnipeg, St. Louis, Vancouver at Chicago. Colorado at Seattle, and I did lead the show with Boston, Nashville. Anything jump in, catch your eye there?
You mentioned this. Well, I don't know if I'm going to be involved in this one or not, but the Colorado Avalanche had a very advantageous schedule after their bad start. If you take a look at kind of how they started, and keep in mind, I kept on saying that they do have excuses, and I know that I'm kind of sticking up for the team that I said might go all the way to the Cup Finals here, but when you take a look at some of the teams the Avalanche had to play, talking about the Bruins, talking about the Golden Knights, it wasn't easy. But then look at this, Jeff. This is how the schedule makers set things up here. So you got the Islanders you lose to the Bruins, you lose to the Golden Knights. Look at the games that they had to get out of trouble, to get out of Dodge. And I talked about Sunday's games, right? And I'm not sure if you got involved in, I can't remember, but all 3 favorites win, all 3 puck lines hit, and all 3 team totals would have hit on Sunday. And I stayed away because I just thought all 3 were a little bit too highly priced. But my point I'm getting to here is, after losing their what was it, 4th straight to start the season off, I think it was, the next handful of games for the Avalanche, Ducks, Sharks, Kraken, Utah, Senators, Blackhawks. Where's the loser there? Where's the one that this team loses? I mean, that's one thing that I talk about, and I'm hoping you remember me saying at the start of the year this, Jeff. In the NHL, there's streaks that happen all the time, and for me. I would bet on a team with clients, be super right about it, and then feel like the next day I had to find somebody else. I had to find another team to make money on, right? And the thing is that if you release a team 4 times in their next 4 games and they win 3 of them, and if you and I are getting plus money on at least half of those, we're making money. And I feel like now is the time. A lot of people are going to be so down on this Avalanche team. They are going to not believe in them anymore, talk about their injuries, talk about the start that they had, and then say, I'm not laying this price with the Avalanche. I'm not betting the puck line with them anymore. And then watch, they're going to rattle off so many wins in a row. And just so we're all aware here, because to continue the point that Jeff continues to press, both wins for this team, they've gotten to that magic number of 4. So I think Colorado's the play here, and you know exactly where I'm going. They're going to get to 4 on Seattle. Seattle's been a really weird team lately. They've been involved in more high-scoring games than I pegged them to be, but Saturday they had a low-scoring contest against Calgary. I think Colorado, plus 115, get me to 4 goals is the one I'm looking for. Shop around. You can get plus 120 at some spots. I do like that one. And then I wanted to mention as well, Senators and Utah. I think the over is the play here at 6.5. This team continues to score goals. This team will be a high-scoring team throughout the season. Let's not forget, Jeff, Utah is just Arizona 2.0. Arizona with an arena. Arizona with a big fan base, Arizona with new jerseys, and they're a team that is off to a really good start. I believe they're 4-1-1. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, but the fact is, it was the worst spot imaginable for them on their last game of their road trip against the Ducks. What happens? Well, they end up going to overtime in that game. They come home, another really bad spot. Everyone loves to fade. First game back at home off a road trip. They're playing the Bees. They go to overtime in that one and win that one in overtime. This team continues to overseed everyone's expectations. But I think that when you look at this one, we're going to see some goals between these two teams. Give me the Senators. Give me Utah up and over 6.5. That's one that I don't want to worry about who wins. So we're talking about team totals a lot today. That's one of those ones where I don't want to pick a team, Jeff. Just give me some goals here, I don't, and that's kind of how I phrase it. Like I'm sure you've realized that I do love those team totals. I've been betting them for years, but I've learned from you the certain spots. But there's certain times where I look at a game and everything adds up for both sides, that I just don't want to pick a team to have to get to that number. I just want to pick both of them to score for me.
It's funny. I woke up this morning. Again, we had a huge week with the ECSI VIPs. Rolled into Saturday up 4 units. We cashed the Seattle team total over. We cashed the Yankee Dodgers parlay. Our circa pre-flop exactas came in. Yankees Dodgers either plus 1,300 or 1,350. Roll into Monday. Ravens team total over. Leafs team total over. And I woke up this morning, and we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary, Andrew, as obviously you know. And I swear to God, I swear, people, we cashed both those tickets sweat free. I mean, yesterday, and we're rolling. We're on a nice little heater right now. But it's not a side. It's not I need this team. It's something that we've found, and that I always say to you, when it's working, stick with it. When it starts not to work, well, then you figure out why and you move on somewhere else. Well, we're cooking with Crisco here. And my point is, with the board this big, there's a handful that hit the system. Now, I'm not going to go out and give out 5 games today. You hit one of them right on the nail on the head here. But my point is, it's like I think some of the people feel like, Jeff, it's when things get or are going too easy. And it's almost like they start to complain because it's going too easy.
Yes, and then that's where the complacency hits, and they're almost forgetting what it feels like to have to sweat one, and that's a good feeling to have. Let's not forget about that. And the thing is that people love that competition, and I talked about this with the Buffalo Sabres, right? Like, imagine you had if there's any spots that anybody that's following you thinks that they should take the Buffalo Sabres, they should be on the team total. Because, as I mentioned, they're scoring 4 goals and they're giving up 5 or 6 in the same game, right? You don't need that thrill for the matchup head to head when you have no idea what the defense is going to do. If you can predict what the offense is going to do, that's what's going to be good for you. Do you think, Jeff, like out of all the people that follow you and your subscribers and VIPs, do you think a handful of them see that the Ravens team total comes out and they're like, I'm going to have to bet the side on this one too? I wonder how many people are like, I have to bet the spread as well, or how many people stay structured and bet just the team total. Because when I see that, I'm like, okay, all right, let's just get to this number. Whenever I follow you on plays, I don't go off track. Yeah, I think it's rule number 1 of following somebody on picks they give you is you can't go off track on it. Because I've given my friends team total picks in hockey where they were sweating out the money line, and I'm just hoping to get to 4, and it makes a big difference.
1,000%. And just because I gave out the team total, how many times do we give out team totals in cash and the team, as you said, loses in overtime? Or perfect example, Tampa gets the onside kick at the very end after they lose Godwin. Why the hell they were out there, I don't know. That's for another show.
Yeah.
But they get that onside kick, and Mayfield throws up a Hail Mary, and it lands on 3 while they were up 17, 5 minutes ago. So again, people are like to complicate things. Well, if he likes this, then I'm going to do B, C, D, and E, and A came in. So everyone knows where to follow you, obviously on Twitter at McGinnis Picks, at Wager Talk. Mayflower Sports. Head on over to YouTube, guys, and please follow Andrew at McGinnis Picks. And while you're over there, head on over to East Coast Sports Investors and subscribe there as well. $5 Tuesday, I assume, WT.buzz/AM. But as we always end the show, my brother, tell them what you got to offer.
Jeff, you said it. I appreciate it always. Appreciate the platform. Appreciate starting my day with you on Tuesdays. And I'm happy we're doing Tuesdays and not Mondays this year because there's so many games to break down, and go over. Hopefully, I was able to give out some potential winners on tonight's board. But yeah, $5 day. Last week it went really well. The first few weeks of this new $5 deal has gone really well. My best bet of the whole day is available. We can only do one pick in the package for $5. So if you guys want my full day, it's $39. You can jump on board for a 30-day NHL and the full season. You can DM me as well. But if you want my favorite play of the whole NHL slate, just $5 over at Wager Talk. And Jeff, I always say the best part about these deals, inside the analysis, people get future deals for other promotions, as in 1 month, 30 days, 90 days, full NHL season. So you're paying $5 for the play, but inside that package, you're also getting all kinds of other promotional stuff as well, plus 16 units to start the season off. Jeff, thanks again as always, and congrats again on that big night yesterday. I was following you.
Well, I can't thank you enough. I want you to enjoy the rest of the day. And of course, the NHL tonight. It's going to be a big, big night. We'll be talking throughout the week, my brother. Enjoy yourself. Behave, okay?
Thanks, Jeff.
Terry, give me 1 second here. We're going live. It looks like on a golf course. I saw him in a golf cart for the last 20 minutes. So we're going to go to a quick commercial break. And when we come back, Terry Smith, CEO, founder, Atlanta Steak and Seafood. Shout out to Andrew Mcinnis as always. We'll be right.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop, come on, take me higher.
Well, I know this gentleman's smiling. You know, a couple weeks ago, Braves get knocked out of the playoffs. That's okay. We move on to the Falcons, and the Falcons had a rough Sunday. But as I talked to him yesterday, it was the perfect storm for the Seattle Seahawks. Losers of 3 in a row. Atlanta not getting fat on themselves. It was a tough spot. But I know what he wants to talk about. How about them dogs? The one and only Mr. Terry Smith. Morning, sir.
Hey, how about them dogs, Mr. Dawson?
Well, you know what? You came out and we talked. I talked all week during the show. The key to success when you are traveling on the road is to make a statement. You had to make a statement, take that crowd out. And that defense reminded me of the 2 championship defenses in on the quarterback, win the turnover battle. Hell of a performance, Terry.
Yeah, we did the opposite of what we did at Alabama, where we let them control the game from the beginning. And it was a good old fashioned bulldog comeuppance there. Kirby was ready. He had the guys ready to play, and like he said after the game, we were ready to eat, and we showed it, and it was great to see an aggressive defense back, playing like they were running around the field, flying around the field, putting tons of pressure on the quarterback. We really had been doing that all year. We had some injuries up front, front 7, but we got most of those guys back and healthy. You could tell a difference, and they turned them loose, and Texas wasn't ready.
And you got out to a big lead. Sark took it on the chin in the first half. They made some adjustments. They even went to Manning when Ewers was not doing well. He goes back to Ewers. The momentum was shifting. They got within 15, and then all hell breaks loose. The right call was made. Let's get that straight. But the overturn because of the bottles, and now everyone's social media. Well, if you want to get a call correct, just throw bottles onto the stands. What was your thoughts as all this BS was going on?
I don't think I've ever seen that in my 3 years here in a ball game. My wife and I are sitting there watching it and going, "This is absolutely crazy." I've seen a few things thrown on the field, but not to that capacity. And I think the referees, the right call was made. After looking at it, but you can't do that in a ball game when you have 15 minutes to watch a replay. The officials watching the replay on the big screen. So, but you give the dogs credit, man. They hung in there. A lot of teams might have folded. A lot of coaches might have got a little out of whack. But they cut it to 8 there, and we had a 90-yard drive. The offense showed back up. Had 2 plays there, 70 yards, 2 big pass plays, and we started running the ball too a lot better this week. Got Travis Etienne back in he looked like his old days from Florida, so he was healthy, running crazy. It was just good to see an old Bulldog team show up and play like we did, in the past 2 or 3 years.
As a big-time fan, as a team with a bullseye on them, pre-flop, Georgia, Ohio State, Texas, they were the leaders, Oregon, and again, you had that hiccup, but you moved forward. Now, unlike Alabama, who now has 2 losses, 15th in some of the polls, I've seen them as low as 21st on life support. We talked about the SEC beating each other up. There's going to be an SEC team, big name next to them, ranked 13, 14, 15 when this dust settles. And you're going to be looking at a small team saying, well, we know we're better than them. And I'm going to tell you, 9 out of 10 times you're right. How could an Ole Miss team with 3 losses, and their 3 losses were A, B, and C, not get in over this team who played no one? Moving forward, what is your most concerns with this Georgia Bulldog team?
It's got to be the offense. Tons of drop passes. Beck looks a little indecisive at times and forcing the action a little bit, throwing into double and triple coverage. I think some of the receivers are running the wrong routes and just putting him in a tough spot. But it all comes down to running the ball. If we get the running, game going, he's going to have a lot easier time going in. But it's got to be the offense and some of the play calling people on Bobo for running the ball up the middle all the time. But I think he called a much better game this past week. I think we always are more conservative in the first part of the season, so hopefully we'll open it up. Florida's playing better. We still got Ole Miss and on the road. We still got Tennessee at home. There's not an easy spot in this next second half of the season. But clean up the drop balls and give Beck a little more time to throw and get his confidence back, and I think we'll be fine.
Brock Bowers, you kind of wish he had one more year, don't you?
Yeah, McConkey too. But those receivers are growing, and hopefully they'll get where they need to be next couple of weeks.
All right, our play of the day on Sunday was the Seattle team total over 24.5. Got there real early in the third. I talk about the perfect storm, and Seattle had a couple tough losses at home. Three losers of 3 in a row, travel cross country to Atlanta, who's been playing a lot better ball. Cousins, Drake London, Bijan looks amazing. Defense, Judon putting pressure on quarterbacks. It was a real tough spot, Terry, for you on Sunday.
Yeah, it was ugly. We never get too over supportive of the Falcons. You live down here long enough. We love them to death, but they drive you crazy. Cousins had a tough day. His lack of mobility definitely hurt on Sunday. But like you said, they had lost 3 games. One to Detroit, one to the 49ers. There's nothing bad about losing to those guys, and they look ready. They were fresh. Their running back, he's awesome. You got Metcalf out there in the running down the field like crazy, and they just took it to us, and it looked like we weren't ready. They weren't cohesive at all, and we still ran the ball well. We did run the ball well. So it's a long season. Got 10 games left, a lot to go on, but we're in a much better spot than we have been in the past few years. At least we had a guy and throw the ball down the field.
Watching Bijan, and again, new head coach, new OC, whole new system here. The saying that we like to say is, Jesus, if we just could get these guys in space. You see this guy in space, and the jab steps, the bouncing, electric. Moving forward, I know there's a lot of mouths to feed there, but what's your thought with the Falcons? I mean, I know Kirk Cousins' teams don't turn and hand the ball off 25 and 30 times. If he touched the ball 20, 25 times, meaning let's give him, 15 to 17 rushes, and then let's give him, 5 to 7 dump passes and see what he can do.
Yeah, he needs to get the ball in his hands more, and they got to find a way to do that. He reminds me of a guy you look in high school, and he's on the field, and anytime he can touch it, he can go. So he has that electricity about him and that potential to do that every play. He's fun to watch. I'm glad we drafted him a couple of years ago. Last year we didn't even use him. So I like to see another 5 to 10 touches in either swing passes or running the ball. But in Algiers too, he's a solid backup. So we got 2 really good backs to feed.
Well, I've been talking at length with you every week on the show about, I think your defense is playing a lot better. And I always bring up Judon. You finally got a couple edge rushers that can put pressure on the quarterbacks. I like the way you're coming to the ball. There's a lot of speed. I'd like to say an optimistic defense. But with that kind of offense, with a seasoned veteran quarterback who doesn't make mistakes for the most part, with a solid back, it's almost like if I was the OC, I'd want to play keep away. I would want those long drives, keep moving the chains, and let my defense get lathered up, and be ready to pounce. If you start to put together 10, 12, 13 play drives, your defense gets them 3 and out, the offense gets back on. I think that's a better recipe for success than a 3-play drive and a strike to Drake London for 55.
Yeah, you saw Seattle do that to us, man. They controlled the ball and just ran it down our throat. And, Metcalf was wide open half the time. And we our statistically our D is not. You look at the numbers. We're in the latter half of the league, but we're making other than Sunday, we've been making some opportune plays, keeping the offense in the on the chance to do something. We'd get some turnovers. We didn't get any really on Sunday. But they're coming along. I think we're okay. We said we got the players to make some things happen. But yeah, I like a nice 10, 15 play drive and have those guys come in and do their thing.
Lastly, Dodgers, Yankees starts on Friday. Shohei Ohtani versus Judge and Soto. Of course, both teams have a lot more stars than that. Thoughts, feelings? Obviously, being a Braves fan, rooting for anyone. Going to watch the series, Terry?
I still, have some feelings for little Freddie. Freddie Freeman. I know, he left us, but I'd like the Dodgers to win this thing. I had them winning. I did pick Cleveland on the other side, but they were in every game too. That was a heck of a series. Going down to last at bat. Every game. But I know MLB's happy, for Yankees and Dodgers. So, that's one of the longest rivalries in baseball. So they have what they want. But I think it's going to be a great series. Just because the Dodgers are, we see them a lot more often and have a big rivalry with them. I'm gonna sort of lean to the blue and the Dodgers will win this thing.
All right, quick commercial break, and we'll wrap it up with Terry Smith. Stay tuned. In the intro, every show that's 10, 12, 15 a week, I always say, head on over to Facebook, go follow Terry Smith, introduce yourself, tell him JD from ECSI sent you. And then I said, while you're there, head on over to your website, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, shop away. And then we talk about a promo code. Last week, Seafood 20, any box of seafood, lobster tails, sea bass, whatever you have to offer. What do you got to offer this week, Terry?
Well, we're running that same special this week. It's National Seafood Month. I usually do that for 2 weeks every October. So we're going to continue one more week of National Seafood Week with the code Seafood 20. I just had a big order this last night for lobster tails and grouper and Chilean sea bass and saku block tuna. And in fact, we're headed right up there after our show here and go take care of some people today. But you can't beat our seafood. It's some of the best you can get in the world. All wild caught, all sourced from great places around the world. And comes vacuum packed, flavors locked in. You can't beat the product that we sell.
Well, again, when I started the show, it looked like you were on a golf course. I want you to enjoy yourself. We look forward every week to have you either on Monday or Tuesday. We can't thank you enough. Your product is second to none. Your customer service is even better, Terry.
Thank you, sir. It's a pleasure being on today, and as always, and good luck to you as well this week with your picks, and we'll go from there.
All right. You take care, Terry. Have a blessed day.
Thank you, guys. Go Dogs.
The one and only Terry Smith, at Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. If you're not following them, shame on you. On Twitter at Atlanta Steak and Seafood. And of course, head on over to Facebook. Go follow Terry Smith and then start to take a look at the menu. It is amazing. I have a pork chop today that has been marinated overnight that we're going to throw on the grill. And I do have some sea bass getting ready for Wednesday and the grill. It's about 75 here on Cape Cod. It's crazy right now. One more commercial break, and when we come back, we'll wrap it up here at East Coast Sports Investors. Stay tuned.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop. Come on, baby, higher.
ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Great show here, of course, on Tuesdays. Andrew Mcinnis at Mcinnis Picks at Wager Talk starts us up. An absolute bedlam NHL hockey board starting at 6:07. Last puck dropped at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Crazy schedule there. Go over and follow Andrew again at Mcinnis Picks at Wager Talk. $5 Tuesday. Head on over there and shop away. Of course, Terry Smith, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. I can't talk enough about the quality of his product. Based out of Atlanta, the dry ice does wonders. He sends a care package up to me 2 days later. Presto magic. There's still a half a bag of dry ice here, there, and everywhere, and frozen solid. And I know you guys have heard of Omaha. Well, this is Omaha on steroids, okay? And you get the customer service second to none. So do yourselves a favor. Go follow Terry Smith on Facebook and then start shopping at Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. And remember, this week is the last week for Seafood 20, National Seafood Month. Terry will take good care of you. ECSI VMPs, you guys are on fire. We are on a major heater here. As I said last night, I'm going to offer it to anyone watching and listening. And again, we've had standing room only here. If you go to our website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com, hit the plans and pricing, scroll all the way down, you see the $375 a month retail price. That price has been there for 10 years. It's not moving. But what we do now offer is an ECSI Welcome to the Family VIP owned gym membership for $3 a day. That's right, $3 a day. All our picks sent to you via text to your cell phone and emailed, whether it's at Terry on a golf course, Andrew in Canada, you at work, at the gym, or just sitting on the couch. Boom, no timestamp. You would have got the Baltimore Ravens team total over 27.5 yesterday. You would have got the Toronto Maple Leafs team total over 3.5. You'd be sitting here on Tuesday morning, right now, drinking your coffee, up 2.2 units. That's it. And after last week we cashed 7 units, 7.5 units, plus we had the exactor plus 1,300 or 1,350 on Yankees Dodgers that was offered at the Circa by Jeffrey Benson. So what we did to bring in our anniversary, 6 months instead of $5.99, we cut it in half, $2.99. How do you get it? 2 ways. Send me a DM at EC Sports Invest saying, hey, Jeff, I'm in, or send us an email to eastcoastsportsinvestors@gmail.com. Jeff, I'm in. I want to get all your plays for the rest of 2024 through the Super Bowl, through March Madness. That's right, through April. First pitch in baseball, the Masters. for $1.50 a day. If you can't afford $1.50 a day, you shouldn't be playing. That's just me. So go have a day. Enjoy yourselves from the ECSI Network. Thank you again to Andrew Mcinnis. Thank you to Terry Smith, and we will see you soon.